Yo, it's Willis back with another one. I've been sat here for the past 10 minutes just talking to myself without recording because I do that. And I did that before I decided to start, recording my rants and stuff. So I've done that for like the past 10 minutes. And I didn't think to record because I didn't think I was gonna go on a rant or a monologue or whatever. But then I'm at the point where I feel like I do need to just turn on the camera and start talking. So I'm watching this video. It's a news thingy-majig from my country. It's a news clip, I guess, from an interview they did, and they're talking about the disparity in how students will graduate, but then they won't be able to um head into tertiary learning and stuff like that, or like they won't be able to head into university specifically. And it's because like I said in the previous video, dude, the mentality is that kids just need to head into university and it'll be all right. But I'm not going to speak on that again. This is something else that I want to speak on. I'm just hoping that it doesn't flee from me. Yeah, I was gonna talk about how um had I not been in the industry that I'm in, I would have uplifted so many people, or like I would be able to uplift so many people because my industry doesn't really call for mass employment like that. Really, you can get by with 2 people, 3 people assembling the enclosures and stuff. I'm the one who's trying to stretch it by employing, and I think I've spoken about this somewhere, maybe, probably. I'm the one stretching it by trying to employ 30 employees, 50, because I want to have people, employed. I want to have people within a thing that I've started and working towards something, a common goal that I've launched, That's something I dream of for personal reasons, for economic reasons, financial reasons. Or what did I do say? Um, what did he say? The decent man. Maybe I should look it up. City of Demons. For financial reasons, for mental health reasons. Yeah, that's the other thing he said. If my industry really allowed for that, maybe it does, and that I'm just not at the grand scale that you do have to be in order to start employing a decent amount of people without you stretching or without you going bending over backwards in order to do so. You get what I'm trying to say? Like Boss, for example, they're one of the biggest, pedal guys in the game. I imagine they've got like thousands and thousands of employees, right? And they're the biggest guys in the game, So you kind of have to be huge in this particular industry that I'm in or that I'm heading in to hire a decent chunk of people without you stretching the funds and without you basically nickeling and diming people for the sake of trying to employ a great number of people. So yeah, dude, like I have the heart. I have the heart to do it. I have the mentality to do it. I was just saying, like, before I turned on the camera, that you have to get over 2 things. You have to get over the mental, I guess, box that you put in. That being that you have to go to university or you're not going to have a future. You have to get out of that mental box. And then secondly, you have to overcome the physicality of being met with, I don't know, like the physicality of the terrible economy, essentially. Like, you have to overcome the fact that there are no jobs. You have to overcome the fact that the tertiaries are full, universities are full. You have to overcome the physicality of that and the mental block that is put onto you, or like into you, by your environment, by your parents. You have to overcome you basically have to overcome the two realms that make up, well, two of the three realms that make up a person. Like the physical side, the mental side. I guess the only thing you don't have to overcome when it comes to, like, well, I guess you do have to overcome some spiritual battle, I guess. You know, you can't neglect that. It's good to tap in with, it's good to be like, yo, God, yeah, I'm struggling a bit with just this whole employment thing, man. Like, yeah, obviously you're gonna phrase it in a more respectful manner, but yeah, it's a lot of overcoming that you have to do. But the hardest part is realizing that you have to overcome some stuff, because people are still in schooling. People still believe that you have to, do this tertiary thing or do this university thing. In our economy, in our economy, I don't understand if, like, you were in, what's the country with a good, economy or whatever. I don't understand if you were elsewhere in the world and, actually going to university meant that you graduate and then you get hired and then you work for a living. I get if you had that mentality in that country, but you can't realistically have that mentality here. Not even if you're the cream of the crop. Like I said in my previous video, which I made yesterday. I'm making this again now because I just saw this news clip and it prompted me to have like a 10-minute chat before I even decided to start recording. Basically just going over the stuff that I spoke about in my previous video. The kids need to think for themselves as well, but then there's only so much thinking that a kid can do because kids don't know a whole lot. It's that sort of thing. Kids just don't know a lot. Kids don't know that they ought to do some outside thinking. They're told that, okay, take this route. This is the route that leads to success. They don't know that you might have to take a different route to attain success. That's another thing that I mentioned. I was talking about how, well, I brought up how they essentially, like, the schools and stuff in the school system essentially expect you to know what it is that you want to do with your life at 16. And that's not at all fair, because at 16 you're supposed to be playing with Beyblades. At least in my opinion. Some people want to grow up too fast and they'll start doing work at the age of 16 just so that they can grow up and be like, when I was 16 I was already in the field. Well, you grew up too fast. You're a teen when you're 16.